Welcome all of you, the viewers of Poland Daily Culture. My name is Maria Kądzielska-Koper and we are talking about the church in the Middle East. With us on Skype is Xavier Besets, the coordinator for the aid to the church in need in Syria, Lebanon and Egypt. Xavier, in the previous episodes we talked a lot about Syria and we talked a lot about Lebanon, but right now you are in Egypt and you are just up to visit the local parishes and the local bishops there. Tell us a few words about the situation of the church and the Catholic Church in Egypt.
So Egypt is interesting because actually it has numerically the largest population, not percentage-wise, but in terms of millions of Christians, it has the largest number in the Middle East. Most of them are Coptics, which are an ancient Christian population. Most of them Orthodox, but you do also have a small Coptic population. Here, unfortunately, there are problems in sometimes the question of coexistence is a challenging one for the local church. And so for us as a pastoral charity, our focus is not just supporting the initiatives of the church, but also especially supporting the initiatives of this church that encourage coexistence between different religions in the Middle East, because we know that there's no future for Christians in the Middle East without our Muslim brothers and sisters, and also our Orthodox brothers and sisters, and people from other religious minorities. And so, if I can, we really focus a large part of our programming on initiatives which encourage this coexistence. In particular, I would single out Catholic schools. Often these are one of the only locations where children from different religions can learn to get along in peace and learn Christian values, whether or not they are actually Christian. And this is also the same with the initiatives of religious congregations who work with the poorest of the poor, who are very important on the ground.
So once again, similar to the situation in Lebanon, the education and the Catholic education is one of the foundations of the communities there and the churches there. But looking at from like a broader perspective, is it also still free to be a Christian or a Catholic in Egypt, or do they can openly go to masses, for example, in Cairo, or is it a threat or challenge? I know that the Copts are very frequently attacked, or there are frequently assassinations of either something happened in the church, or they are bombed, or they are even killed. Tell us about this.
Unfortunately, that is true. This morning, I went to visit a cathedral, and on the way in, you go through a security scanner. They are checking to see if you have any weapons or guns, and also actually they ask, "Are you a Christian?" And the reason is not because non-Christians are not welcome in churches. Of course, we welcome people of all faiths. But especially in Coptic, in Egypt, there has been a terrible history in the last 10 years of terrorist attacks on Coptic churches, especially here in Cairo. So for this reason, the church to this day is very paranoid, and they will ask the visitors about the reason for them coming into a church. Yes, of course, Mass happens every Sunday, but they are worried and they are taking precautions to make sure that they are able to continue saying Mass. So it is not easy to be a Christian in some parts of Egypt.
So these things what, especially right now, the believers here in Poland, is, let's say, a little bit ordinary. We can go to the Mass in the morning, we can go to the Mass in the evening. There are so many churches all over every big city in Poland, so it's not a challenge. We treat it a little bit like a nuisance sometimes. Okay, then I go to church. And you say about it, and that the fact we're going to the Mass and attending the Mass in those free countries, it can be involved either with risking your life or at least taking some precautions, and definitely as a special event in this weekly schedule of every Christian person who wants to attend Mass and want to be part of it, and as an important thing, even like taking the risk of losing your life or health.
That's true. And then there's another issue of conversions. Conversions are a very complicated issue, especially here in Egypt, but also to a certain extent in Lebanon and Syria. It is very difficult to convert from Islam to Christianity, but it is very easy on the contrary to do the reverse, to become a Muslim. And unfortunately, there are still some cases of forced conversions, and especially when it comes to women, it is mostly women who are the victims of this.
This is all absolutely fascinating and very rich and very complex. We cannot get into all the details in this interview, but we definitely thank you very much, Xavier, for explaining all of this to us. And fingers crossed for every day work. And we do hope that one day you will also visit Poland, which is definitely not that challenging, much calmer, but we also have a rich tradition of Christianity here. So thank you for this. And to all of you, the viewers of Poland Daily Culture, have this perspective in mind, how difficult and challenging it is to be a Christian there in the Middle East. So this is just a message, just to not take for granted the privilege of going to Sunday Mass, just for praying here in Europe, and the freedom of religion, which is not something which we should take as an easy thing or just as a right. It is something which we all need to appreciate. And thank you for watching our show.